Story 1. AITA for refusing to leave a wedding because I wore a dress that looks white under a black light. A few months ago, I attended a close friend's wedding with my husband. I wore a yellow dress. Think like Belle in Beauty of the Beast yellow, Bumblebee yellow. So yellow that I did not question if it was appropriate or not to wear to a wedding, and neither did my friends nor family. I arrive at the wedding, we have the ceremony, the cocktail hour, the dinner, and the reception. I get many compliments on the dress, and the bride even comments on how much she loves it several times. Towards the end of the reception, the venue dimmed the lights and turned on some black lights. These black lights made my dress appear more white than yellow. A member of the wedding party approached me while the black lights were on and stated that I needed to leave because my dress was white and inappropriate. I stated that the dress was yellow, but the black lights were making it appear white. The member of the wedding party stated that if I didn't leave, she would make me. I stated I'm here to celebrate my friend, repeated that the dress was yellow, and said I will not be leaving early. Bride and groom hadn't left yet, and I came from overseas. The conversation, while heated, did not have raised voices or foul language from either side. But I will say it was tense. The wedding party member walked off, and I watched as they immediately went to talk to the groom, angrily pointing in my direction. The groom shrugged and continued to dance. The next morning, I was approached by a different friend at breakfast, not in the wedding party, who stated that they heard what happened and that I should have left when asked because it made people uncomfortable, and that I made it about me partying rather than respecting wedding etiquette. The most controversial thing seems to be the blacklight dance party at this wedding. It was the last hour or so and was just a way to have fun. It was not as weird or as tacky as people are making it out to be. I have felt incredibly embarrassed about this since... So am I the asshole for not leaving the wedding when asked?
In my opinion, she is not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 2. AITA for not going to my friend's wedding after what she said to me. A few months ago, a friend of mine told me she was getting married. It wasn't meant to be a regular wedding, but more of an elopement kind of thing. We were supposed to be her, the groom, me as a maid of honor, and a best man plus a few close family member, about 10 people in total, and it was planned for early November. I say wedding like that in the title because there will be no invites, no save the date, no ceremony, no walk down the aisle, just courthouse and dinner. That comes from the bride herself, I'm not guessing anything. A week ago I got the news that I had gotten a permanent job. I don't know how to explain it because this is a very typical thing from my country, Spain, where every so often the government will hire professionals to work either in the administration or in public institutions, education, high school. This is usually a great opportunity because these positions are for life, well, until you retire, and they can never fire you. In order to apply for these positions, you have to take an exam, and then depending on your years of service to the institution and the score you get on the exam, you can get one of those jobs. Long story short, I took my exam last year, and last week I got told that I got one of the jobs, but I will be moving cities for that. When I told my friend this, the only thing she said is, "When are you leaving? Can you still come to my wedding?" No congratulations, no I'm happy for you, nothing. I must add, 2 weeks ago I talked to her to know where were we having dinner for her wedding, and she said she didn't have anything planned yet, let alone booked. Had she told me she had everything booked and that she really needed my RSVP, I would have understood her answer. But in that context, I've decided that if the only thing she cares about is her and her wedding and she can't be happy for me, I'm not going to the wedding. AITA?
In my opinion, she is an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 3. AITA for not letting my mom come to my wedding after she ignored me my whole life. I, 26M, am getting married to my fiancée. Let's call her Sarah, 25F, in a few months, and I'm super excited about it. But there's one big issue with all the planning. My mom. A little background. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mom, let's call her Layla, remarried pretty quickly after that. She married this guy, Dave, who had 2 kids of his own. Ever since, it's like I was no longer a priority in her life. She focused all her attention on Dave and his kids. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say she treated them way better than me. They'd go on trips, she'd go to all their sport events, and they'd get everything they wanted. Meanwhile, I felt like I was invisible. She didn't ask about my school, didn't care about my friends, or even my mental health. I started to feel like I wasn't even her kid anymore. When I turned 18, I moved out. I thought maybe she'd care and try to stay in touch, but nope, she didn't. I'd text her once in a while just to check in, and she'd either not respond or say she was busy with Dave and his kids. I figured if she didn't care, why should I? So I just stopped trying to reach out. Fast forward to now, I'm planning my wedding, and out of nowhere, my mom starts texting me like we're super close. She wants to know all the details, saying how excited she is, and even saying things like, I can't wait to see you start this new chapter. Like, seriously, I haven't heard from her in years, and now she expects to be front and center for my wedding? I told her straight up that I didn't want her there. I said I'm not comfortable with her coming after everything that's happened, and that if she really wants to have a relationship, we can talk about it after the wedding, but not before. She started crying and saying I'm holding a grudge and that I'm her son, and she deserves to be there. But I don't know how I'm supposed to just forget the fact that she ignored me my whole childhood in favor of Dave's kids. Now my family is split. Some of them think I'm right, and that I shouldn't just let her show up when she never showed up for me. Others think I should just let it go, and it's just one day, and that I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. So, AITA for not letting my mom come to my wedding after everything that happened.
In my opinion, he is not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 4. AITA for kicking my mother out of my wedding after she brought my ex as her +1. I, M30, started seeing June, F29, about 3 years ago. My mother has never really liked June for a couple reasons, the main one being the fact that June didn't let my mom push her around. She kept firm boundaries, which I really admired, and she even helped me do the same. My mom hated this, calling June controlling and wishing I hadn't broken up with my previous girlfriend, Margot, who my mom loved. I was with Margot for 5 years, and it was horrible. Margot was very controlling and manipulative and always guilted me into things I wasn't comfortable with. But thanks to support from friends and my sister, I was able to leave her. It was hard, but I had help, and my life has improved since. My mom was very upset with this, but relationships didn't last, so she eventually let it go until I started dating June about a year later. When June and I announced our engagement, my mom didn't freak out, which was weird considering my mom hates June. She was very calm, but I just took it as she was finally accepting this, and so I didn't think much of it. Everything was fine and smooth up until the wedding. I gave both my parents +1s to the wedding since they both remarried after I graduated college. So I'm not close to their spouses, but gave them the option of inviting them. We had a very small ceremony, just immediate family and a few close friends. After the ceremony, me and June went to take pictures, and then met back with everyone we invited to the reception, which was pretty big. When we got there, my sister and June's best friend, maid of honor, ran up to us in a panic. Before they even said anything, I spotted it. My mom was at the table with my dad's wife, and Margot. I wanted to freak, but June kept me calm. I walked over, pulled them both aside, and simply told them to leave. My mom tried to explain Margot and I are soulmates, and June is just in the way of true love, but I wasn't hearing it. I didn't care. Just got my best friends to escort them out, and I returned to the party, where luckily, after a few moments, I was able to relax and enjoy it. I really didn't think this would all turn into something huge, but me and June just got back from our honeymoon where we didn't have our phones. And seeing mine, I saw hundreds of texts from multiple family members. They all think I was an asshole for kicking my mom out of her only son's wedding. For the record, she was there for the ceremony, but apparently was really upset she was kicked from the reception. Here's a summary of my family's thoughts. Some think I could have just ignored Margot and didn't have to freak out. A few others, including my dad, think I should have just kicked Margot and let my mom stay, but after the stunt my mom pulled, I didn't want her there either. I'm starting to second-guess myself since everyone is really mad. June and my sister are on my side, but I fear my dad may be right, and I should have just let my mom stay and made Margot leave. So, AITA?
In my opinion, he is not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 5. AITA for excluding my brother from my wedding because of his fun facts. I have an older brother, David, 41. David has boundary issues and was in the learning disabled classes. My parents never let him out of the home. He has a very rough personality, and because he was never allowed to work or do anything so in his 40s, he doesn't have friends. He still dominates the conversation at every holiday with fun facts, and goes off on those and doesn't realize no one is listening. My other siblings and I just really don't like David, because my parents let him do whatever and just dominate whatever social settings we are in. My older sister eloped because of David being my mom kept trying to find David a place at her wedding. I'm getting married to Mel, and my youngest brother Nick is my best man. My sister, who is close to Mel, is in the bridal party. Her husband is one of my best men and their son is a ring bearer. My wife wants a real wedding and not be forced to elope like my sister did. David has no place. He's not going to be invited because the first thing he did was insult the ring. I got my Mel was his fun facts about how diamonds are worthless and do not resell well. I should have got her a second-hand engagement ring or a colored stone engagement ring. We then got a history on engagement rings and marriage tradition. We tried shutting him up, but he wouldn't. And my mom said, "Let the professor talk." Even at 40, she thinks my brother fun facts are cute. This put a hard no on Mel's stance that my brother can't come to the wedding. If my parents defend him even once, they are not coming. She not having a wedding like my sister, and it's time for David to be put in his place. Mom called and asked about wedding planning, and I told her she wasn't involved after what happened to my sister wedding dress shopping. Mom brought David, who told everyone his fun facts about wedding dress history. That's when my sister decided to elope. I told Mom if she and Dad wanted to come to the wedding as guests, they can, but David isn't invited. Mom didn't talk for a while. I think she started crying because my dad took over the phone call. I told him what upset Mom and said David isn't invited, and Mom can't be trusted to be involved in wedding planning without David tagging along. Dad said he doesn't understand why we all hate David, and I told him what is wrong with his fun facts. My dad said, the boy likes to talk and there's no harm in it. I told my dad that's the thing, there is harm in David's fun facts, and now no one wants to be around him. Dad started arguing, saying stuff in defense of David, and I told Dad we are at a stalemate, and I guess all three of you won't be coming to the wedding. I'm sorry, but that is how it is. I ended the conversation with my dad, and my mom has been upset, texting like a crazy person to everybody about how we all need to understand David. What I'm doing is mean. Mel feels like this whole thing is why I can't invite David or my parents. I agree that they can't even be trusted to come to my wedding without sneaking David in.
In my opinion, he is not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below. Subscribe for more interesting stories.